Britain first, in the pure days when Jayda Fransen was retweeted by President Trump. They had a massive leap in membership. I was speaking to Jayda Fransen just a couple of months ago. These were the good days. These were the days of loyalty, the days of purity, if you like, in Britain first. When Jayda Fransen stood there and told us all that these rape gangs are still going on over takeaways, in taxi offices, in corner shops. Well, how low has Britain first sank under AndrewEdge and Paul Golding? It really has sunk very low indeed. A lot of you guys may remember I am, or was, the Britain First Crusader man. It was my idea entirely. I just turned up at, it was Huddersfield or somewhere, with this Crusader suit. Paul had no objections, so I started wearing it. Thought it was a great idea. It's since been carried on by a guy down south, and a guy called Callum, who you know, has got very close to Paul. He's the son of a solicitor, and I think he, like Paul, is certainly of Jewish extraction, even if he's not Jewish. They've sunk very low indeed, as Jayda said to me on the phone recently. They're just a pair of fake Christians, you know, using everybody they can, paying anyone they can to get good media exposure, to get likes. Here's Jayda, quite sweet-hearted Jayda, who was abandoned to in jail by the guy on the left there, Paul Golding. They even cut off her wages. When AndrewEdge was talking in my car, going to meetings a few months ago, I knew I could just read the lies coming out of his bloody far-right gob. He was saying, oh, we supported her, we helped her, we didn't dump her in jail without any help. Well, we did. I kind of, you know, I've developed that instinct where when somebody tells a barefaced lie to me, like Andy, like Paul sometimes, like my ex-partner, who was later groomed by these tossers, I can read it like a book. I mean, they might try and be, like, with my ex-partner, they might try and be convincing, they might try and keep repeating their version of the truth, but it just doesn't work with me, because I've come across that many skanks, liars, devious people, not basically like me. I'm quite a pure-hearted guy. According to Paul Golding and AndrewEdge, I'm a dickhead. Well, Andy, I'm the dickhead that had you sussed right from the start. Just because I told you about some secrets from my past, which came out eventually anyway, I knew you would. And you revealed a few of your little secrets, but you didn't like to give true credit to your terrible reputation or the young girls you attack, you groom, you dupe. After being with, don't like to talk over Jayda really, but after talking to Jayda and what have you, and the way you were violent towards her, it's quite, and the way you've tried to, with my ex-partner's cooperation, I believe, the way you've tried to bully me with threats. You can't quite see that. That's a logged threat of malicious communication with Cheshire Police on, can't quite read it in this light, in early September. I'm quite sure in my own mind, as I say, I can see through lies usually, very easily. I'm quite sure the pathetic AndrewEdge with his scabby knob is still ringing up, probably, my ex-partner. You know, she came out with the usual thing I've had off her for years. She's come out with this, oh, well, you're too old for me. Well, you knew this when I met you. It's just that you were homeless, you were desperate, you thought you might be pregnant by Damo, and I was the only guy that would take you on. Well, she's got a big head now, but I mean, let's be honest. It's a nice enough girl in a lot of ways, you know. I grew to think a lot of her, but at the end of the day, an average looking girl who's lumbered for life with, if she likes it or not, at the moment, with a disabled kid and 2 other kids, which were made in good heart, you know, when things were good. Just because she accepts a few quid from this wanker, and it was quite a few quid, I must say. It was £200, which I was told was a gift to help with the car, because I'd done loads of running around for them. I'd been a gopher for them. I'd been a loyal member for like 4 years. But they repaid that loyalty with AndrewEdge and Paul Golding ringing up my missus, sometimes in front of me, or in my kid's bedroom, and she spilled out all the secrets, if you can call them that. Well, not secrets to me, because I know her view of me. And, you know, I've told her quite clearly that if I get any more disrespect or nonsense like that, you know, I'll basically do to her what AndrewEdge or he would do to her. That is, be very violent and really hurt them and probably scar them for life. That's like what nasty, violent convicts AndrewEdge would do.
In Islam, I'm worth nothing.
I don't like talking over Jayda because it's just such truth. I mean, you don't know, but a lot of people don't realise it, but they're still doing female genital mutilation today. All over the UK, all over Saudi Arabia, all over Africa. They're holding little 7 and 8-year-old girls down and attacking their nether regions with razor blades. This is how evil this ideology really is. And a lot of you guys don't know, but the fact of the matter is that in their ideology, in that Q book, in those H writings, they are the master race. They are, quote the book, quote the hadiths, they are, quote, the rightful masters of the earth. I mean, this woman was only set up for jail after Theresa May was incensed by the popularity she got off the very true tweets that, you know, Christians are slaughtered throughout the world, are oppressed by this ideology, and also that gays are imprisoned, flogged and killed all over the world. Put in Google gay men, gays executed Iran, and images, it'll come up straight away, like 3 or 4 hung men. Although in fact, in most of the Islamic world, mainly it is women who are hung, because in this ideology, women do have the right to inherit the father's wealth. So if she's from a wealthy family, it's a very easy way to set her up for execution. 2 Mus guys stand in court, and they just turned round and say, I saw her in bed with this woman and they were doing things. That's it. Convicted, guilty, hang them to death, and then, you know, her new husband gains all her wealth, all her houses, all her property, all her businesses. How easy is that? Just with a couple of statements. It's very sad, but this schmuck, Paul Golding, that's the right word to use because he is from Jewish stock, actually, and AndrewEdge and Callum Doyle and probably Sammy, what have you, set me up for an arrest due to my ex-partner Lisa's filthy, disgusting telegram text offering blowjobs and all sorts to Craig. And she's only a few yards away from me, but I don't really care because she knows it's true as well as I do, as well as I am. And she was drunk at the time, but she knew what she was doing. She was showing off in front of Danielle and Sammy and Callum. But unfortunately, 2 people, or was it 3 people, messaged me and said, do you know what she's been saying about you? Yeah, oh, he's a dickhead. You know, don't talk to that dickhead, I'll give you blowjobs. Well, if I ever hear one word of it ever again, I'm going to pummel her face into mush, as I've told her. So, you know, she can take that how she likes, but that's how it's going to be, whether I'm with her or not. You know, it doesn't matter to me now, because basically destroyed the trust in the relationship. She has destroyed the trust in the relationship by Paul Golding sending 130 quid to go to London, and also there's the £200 which she previously sent, which she obviously felt like she owed. So £330, you know, what did she do to repay this money, we ask ourselves? Because she was certainly, as Callum said, she was certainly up for it. It's nothing I've not said to her face, she doesn't like it. But basically, I mean, as Jayda Fransen said, They are. It is happening. Our girls are still being targeted throughout the country for this gang rape, and AndrewEdge and Paul Golding have been taking loads and loads of lessons off it, and they use it exactly the same way. You know, promises of money, promises of support, promises of future relationships, even promises of, you know, being Paul, the next Mrs. Golding. I don't know, but they're certainly deeply stupid women, including the one I know. It's just one of them things, isn't it? I don't know how you're ever going to get past this when people, you know, because of an age gap, they think they've got the right to do this, you know, because they think that their ex or whatever won't react in the way AndrewEdge or Paul Golding reacts, which would have been, if we're in that situation, as Jayda Fransen testified, would have been with violence. So I would not listen to these tossers. They're a pair of perverts, basically. You know, Paul Golding drives around in his gunmetal silver Land Rover, posing, the lease Land Rover, he doesn't even own it, with his Botox and his really offers of hotel orgies, and you know, some of these women are so desperate for attention, like Danielle, like the one I know, like Sammy. You know, they've all been tonk rotten, probably gangbanged in hotel rooms, or Callum's, or whatever, Andy's flat, or wherever's convenient, really. Because money's no object. When it comes to these guys glorifying themselves and abusing people, as Jayda Fransen says, they will use anybody. They will use anybody and feel no guilt about it. So this kind of proves that the fake Christians, because a proper Christian would not risk the breakup of a family of a 4-year, 5-year member just over the bleatings of some silly, naive 29-year-old woman. You know, which I've heard it all before. Oh, he's a dickhead. Oh, he won't get a good job. Oh, you know, he doesn't bring me any money in, will you? Panda, panda, panda. Well, Britain First basically is fucked, as far as I can see. They're totally fucked. And the more people you work over, like me and my family, the worse fuck they're going to be. So if you're going to give any support for anyone on the right, if you want to call it that, support Jayda, because, you know, I've always found her to be honest, even on the phone call. She's confirmed to me that, well, I'm not the first person this has happened to. I'm not the first husband, boyfriend, whatever, where Andy screwed him rotten, or tried to screw him rotten all over the place. And I'm sure I won't be the last. See you guys. Hopefully that was under 15 minutes. I'll have to crop it.